Hey guys, what's happening? I said I'd do this yesterday, and so obviously here it is. This is my NFL mock draft. We've got the Patriots have 9 picks in this year's draft, but I'm only going to do the first 4 rounds, which we have 6 in those 4 rounds. So I think it's about 5 weeks away. So obviously this is the first draft I'm doing, but obviously I'll probably change my mind about players closer to the draft. Um, But yeah, here it goes. So in the first round, I think we'll take Jordan Phillips, who is one of my favorite players in this year's draft. He's a big fucker. He's 6'6", 320 pounds, I think. He's a big defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. So, and obviously we just lost Vince Wilfork, who we've had for about 11 years now, who's been the anchor of the defensive line, who was also a massive mammoth of a man. I love those big players like that. They're just brilliant. So obviously, I think there's two options we could go. I think corner or defensive tackle would be the main picks, and they're the two that obviously make the most sense, seeing as though we've lost our two best players at those positions. But I think we're going to go defensive tackle, and Jordan Phillips will be the pick for me. The second round, I think, will be Byron Jones, who is a corner out of Yukon. So I think at the combine in the long jump, he broke the record, which was 11 point something, but he went over 12 point something with it, which was obviously incredible. I watched the combine when it happened, and it was just incredible that because the jump is from a standing start. They're on a white line and they just have to leap as far as they can, basically. And that was amazing to see. It was brilliant. So I think obviously we'll take him or another corner. He's a very raw prospect, but his upside is incredible. But that's why I think he'll be available then, because he's such a raw prospect. I don't think he'll go in the first round. So that's my opinion on him. Because if we were to go corner in the first round and then defensive tackle in the second, I don't think we would take Byron Jones in the first round. Um, so the third round, though, we've got 2 picks, and the fourth. The the two third round picks are back to back, so there's the 96th and the 97th. I think with the 96th pick, we'll take a running back because that's another need that we didn't really address in free agency. Duke Johnson is the player I'm selecting for me. Played for Miami, and he was a really productive running back. So that would be a great pick. He can do both. He can obviously run the ball, catch the ball, pass protect, which is nearly everything that the Patriots ask for with their running backs. The pick straight after for me is going to be on the offensive line, a guard. So I'm going to go with Laken Tomlinson from Duke. Obviously, the need there is our interior of the line is quite old, apart from our centre, who we drafted last year. Ryan Wendell is not really. You don't really want him to be a starting guard for a few years. He started for us this past year, and obviously it worked out fine. And our other guard is the much better guard, but he's still a free agent. We haven't re-signed him. That's Dan Connolly, who is 32 years old now, and obviously still a free agent. So I don't really know if we're going to re-sign him. So that's obviously a need then, a big need that we have. But with offensive linemen, it's one of those positions, unlike any other, where you can literally take a guard anywhere in the draft and he could start for your team. Because it's not an easy position, obviously, because you need to know all the pass protecting calls, all the run blocking calls, and obviously when you get to the next level in the NFL, blocking the interior defensive tackles, especially the AFC East, the division we're in, which has some of the best defensive lines around. But it's just it's a very successful position for rookies, really. So that would be a really good option. The beginning of the fourth round, I think we're going to double dip in the fourth round, which means we're going to take two of the same player at the same position, two different players at the same position, I should say. And they're going to be wide receivers. The first one's going to be Stephon Diggs from Maryland, who is a shorter wide receiver. I think he's about 5'9", 5'10", but he's a really speedy, really good route running wide receiver who can also go deep down the field if you need him to. But that's the sort of wide receiver we usually target. And that's at the beginning of the fourth round. But I think we'll take a wide receiver at the end of the fourth round as well, which will be a different wide receiver in stature. I think we're going to go with a bigger wide receiver after the smaller one we've took, which would be Kenny Bell from Nebraska, who I really like. He's flat out a deep threat, speedy guy, jump ball specialist, that kind of wide receiver. So I think that's another option. There's a lot. The wide receiver class this year is amazing. So there's still going to be some really good ones left in the later rounds. But I think at this point in time, just making a mock draft, those are the two I'll go for. So obviously that's my four round mock draft with the 6 picks. Obviously I might do another one before the draft and see if some of my picks have changed. So there you go. Thought I'd share that with you, and hope we take some of those players. See you soon.